Today, we are diving deep into the absolutely incredible journey of a true genius, Magnus Carlsen. And I love this quote because it really gets to the heart of it. Carlsen's path, it isn't just about winning. It's a powerful human story about failure, about perseverance, and really what it truly takes to get to the very top. So, our story actually begins right in the middle of the action. Picture this. It's November 9th, 2013, the final match for the World Chess Championship. On one side of the board, you have a living legend, the Indian titan Vishy Anand. And on the other, this young challenger from Norway. The stakes just could not be higher. It's decades of experience against raw, prodigious youth. So the big question is, how on earth did this 22-year-old kid end up on the biggest stage in chess? To really understand that and to appreciate the weight of this moment, we got to go all the way back to the beginning. Magnus, well, he was not a typical kid. To say his mind worked on a different level from an astonishingly early age would be a massive understatement. I mean, just look at this timeline. What's incredible is it shows his insane capacity for memory and concentration long before he even touched a chessboard. At 4 years old, he would focus for 6 hours straight on a single Lego project. His mind was already a supercomputer. But what's really surprising is that he wasn't interested in chess at first. His dad saw his potential, but Magnus, he just wasn't into it. You know what finally sparks his passion? Good old-fashioned sibling rivalry. He just wanted to beat his big sister. So he's clearly a genius, right? But even for someone like him, the path to the top was anything but easy. It was not a straight line to victory, not at all. In fact, his early career was defined by these repeated, humbling defeats that honestly would have made most people just quit. Okay, so at 8 years old, he enters his first Norwegian championship, full of potential, and he walks away with a humbling 11th place finish. That's a tough first lesson for any kid. A few years later, the stakes get higher at the European U12 championship. He fought hard, but again, he fell short, landing in 6th place. You can just imagine the frustration was building. But this was the one that truly stung. The World Youth U12 Championship. He battled all the way to the final match, only to finish 2nd. Being that close, so close to the goal, and still losing, it was a brutal lesson that would really define his future. But here's the thing. Instead of giving up, he and his incredibly supportive family used these failures as fuel. It was right here, in these moments of defeat, that he learned the absolute necessity of hard work and resilience. And this slide just brilliantly illustrates the paradox of his youth. I mean, on one hand, he was still struggling to win the Norwegian championship. But on the other, at just 13 years old, he holds his own and gets a draw against the undisputed greatest player of all time, the legend Garry Kasparov. The kid was a giant killer in the making. So this raw, unpredictable talent, it finally propelled him to the 2013 Candidates Tournament. This is the brutal qualifier where the winner gets the ultimate prize, a shot at the world champion. The rules sound simple, but the journey was a complete psychological roller coaster. 14 rounds against the absolute best in the world. The pressure is just immense. Okay, so it all comes down to the final round, one last game. The pressure is just cranked up to 1,000. Magnus makes a mistake, his position completely crumbles, and his dream, it looks like it's over. He loses the match. But then, in a stunning, unbelievable turn of events, his main competitor, who only needed a draw to win the whole thing, he also loses his final game. It was a miracle. Magnus won the entire tournament on a tiebreaker. Destiny, it seems, had stepped in. And that brings us right back to where we started, the 2013 World Championship match in India against the reigning king, Vishy Anand. So the first 4 games were these grueling, nail-biting draws, and you could see the pressure was getting to the young challenger. It was in his body language. But then, a day off. He just spent it playing cards and relaxing with his family, and it allowed him to completely reset. He came back totally transformed, relaxed, confident, and absolutely lethal. He won Game 5, then he won Game 6, and later he secured a 3rd decisive win in Game 9 to just completely dominate the match. The final score wasn't even close. A new world chess champion had been crowned. At just 22 years old, he had done it.
He reached the absolute pinnacle of the chess world, a peak he had been fighting and clawing his way towards since he was just a little boy.
So, what should we take away from this incredible story? Well, Magnus Carlsen's journey offers some really powerful lessons for all of us, whether you play chess or not. It really shows that true genius isn't just about raw talent, but about emotional resilience. It's a testament to how absolutely critical a strong support system is, and the idea that sometimes the most strategic move you can make is to just step away from the board entirely and reset. Since that victory, he's shattered almost every record imaginable, remaining world number one for over a decade. Which brings us to a really fascinating final question. After you've climbed the absolute highest peak, what's next?